So let's take a look at number 5. So you're given this object over here, and you're told that um, this one person is pulling like this with a force of 100 newtons, and that's at a 40 degree angle, with a horizontal. And some other person is pulling this way, um, and that forms a 120 degree angle with a horizontal, and this is a force of 50 newtons. And the question is, what force must some third person pull to produce the same effect on the object? So basically, these two forces act together on this object, and they could be replaced by some other force, and that force would be the resultant. So if we add these two vectors together, we get the resultant, an equivalent force. So first of all, to find the resultant, what I'm going to do is find the components of each vector and then add them together. So starting with the 100 Newton vector over here, uh, I'm going to find the x component by doing SOHCAHTOA, and in fact, because I know the angle and the hypotenuse and I'm looking for the adjacent side, what I'm going to use is the cosine. So this is going to give me 100 times cosine of 40 for the x component. Now let's pull out the calculator. And so where's that calculator? So the calculator will tell me that 100 times the cosine of 40 is 76.6. So this is 76.6. And the y-intercept, the y component is 100 sine 40. And with a calculator, this gives me, let's take out this calculator. And so 100 times sine of 40 is 64.3, we'll say. Now, to find the components of the second force over here, we first have to find out what this angle inside is. I'll write it in red. And so it would be 180 degrees, 180 degrees minus the 120 degrees, and that gives me 60 degrees. So this is 60 degrees here. Now, to get the components, I do 50 cosine 60 on the bottom and 50 sine 60 here for the y component. And what I get is, with my calculator, I get 50 times the sine of 60. That's 43 point 43.3, and 50 times the cosine of 60 is 25. So my first vector has components 76.6, comma 64.3. And my second component has components negative 25, so this is negative because it's pointing in the left direction, comma 43.3. Now when I add these two vectors together, I get the following components. So let's pull out the calculator again. 76.6 minus 25 gives me 51.6. 51.6, and in the y component I have 64.3 plus 43.3, and that gives me 107.6. So these are the components of my resultant vector. Now, with this I can find the magnitude of my resultant, so that would be, so I'll call the resultant r, and the magnitude of my resultant is the square root of 51.6 squared plus 107.6 squared, and that gives me, let's pull out that calculator, 51.6 squared plus 107.6 squared square root. Whoops. Square root. That's 119.3. And now finally uh, for the angle of my resultant, theta of r is equal to the tangent inverse of my y component, 107.6, divided by 51.6, my x component. And so theta is, let's take out that the calculator, 107.6 divided by 51.6 equals, and now let's take the tangent inverse of that, 64.3, 64.4 degrees.